Hello everyone, welcome to another at-home yoga practice. My name is Katie and this is yoga for your spine and your back. There is a saying in yoga that you're only as young as your spine is flexible. So important to take care of your spinal health, and that's exactly what this video will help you to do. So when you're ready, I'll meet you back here on the mat. Sitting on the mat. You can always take a cushion or a block to sit up on to make it a little bit more comfortable. Otherwise, just find your favorite way to sit, and once you're there, we'll bring a little bit of length into the spine. So as best you can, it can be difficult, especially when you're sitting on the floor, but just reach the crown of your head towards the ceiling. You might bring your palms together and then bow your head slightly towards your heart. Close your eyes here if it feels comfortable. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Find your breath now wherever it is in your body. Feel it as it expands your belly and it expands your chest. Your breath rises up into your throat. And as you exhale, belly empties, chest empties, throat empties. So we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. Try to focus your mind as best you can on those breaths. You can open your eyes whenever you're ready. And from here, we're going to come into tabletop pose. So you can come onto your hands and your knees. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Shoulders are directly above your wrists and knees are directly below your hips. Press yourself away from the floor so your body is nice and strong. Making our way through a couple of rounds of cat-cow here. As you breathe in, point your tailbone towards the ceiling, drop your belly towards your mat, bring your chest slightly forward and then look up. So we're here in cow pose. You can keep breathing. Feel that arch in your back. Now as you exhale, tailbone points down, round your spine, bring your chin towards your chest and drop your head down. Pausing here in cat pose, keep pushing yourself away from the mat, this time feeling that rounding of your spine. We'll continue. Inhaling takes us back up towards cow, pointing your tailbone up, dropping your belly down, shining your chest forward and taking your gaze up. Exhaling, rounding down. Point your tailbone down, drop your head. And just a few more like this now, moving at your own pace. Really trying to keep that connection to your breath. So making your movements last as long as your breath does. And these poses really get every vertebrae moving. So a great way to loosen up your spine and create that flexibility that you may have came here for. Now the next time that you're back in a neutral spine, you can pause there. So we're back in our tabletop. Bring your hips over towards the left and then look over your left shoulder. So we have a C shape with the spine. Now bring your hips to the right, look over your right shoulder. Repeat those movements a few more times. Just getting some movement into the spine in the opposite direction. You might take this time to stretch through your neck as well. And when you're ready, come on back to center again, pausing in your tabletop. Step your hands out in front, keeping your fingers spread nice and wide. Bring your toes onto the mat and then pick your knees up, sending your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And we'll take a moment just to set ourselves up here in down dog. So keep as much of a bend in your knees as you need to in order to keep your spine straight. Point your tailbone towards the ceiling and release your head down towards the mat. And that's what's really going to help you stretch out your back. Aiming to bring your ears in between your biceps to stretch through your shoulders as well. Keep pushing yourself away from your hands. If you want to, you can paddle out your feet to stretch through the back of your legs. From here, we'll start to walk the feet towards the hands. So you can take your time getting there, eventually landing into a standing forward fold. Once you're in your standing forward fold, you can have your feet about hip distance apart and keep as much of a bend in your knees as you need in order to keep your spine straight. Release your head towards the mat, relaxing all the muscles in your neck. Your hands can either hang low to the ground or you can bring them to grab opposite elbows here. Letting everything become heavy now. Let gravity lengthen your spine as you drop your head towards the mat. We'll spend a few breath cycles here. So each inhalation might lift you out of the pose slightly, but each time you exhale, you might be able to squish your upper body a little bit closer to your legs. You can release your hands back down towards the mat if they're not already there. Tuck your chin in towards your chest and nice and slowly, just one vertebrae at a time, start to roll yourself up until you're standing on the mat. So from here we'll come into some sun salutations. So you can bring your feet closer together and then have your palms together at your chest. So this is a really good way to help keep the spine flexible. We'll move slowly to start and then we'll speed up slightly as we come towards the end. So on your next breath in, lift your hands up above your head. Once your biceps come past your ears, let them drag your head back slightly, pushing your pelvis forward. On an exhalation, hinge at your hips, bend your knees, and bring your hands down either side of your feet. Drop your nose towards your knees. Take a big breath in and step your right foot back as far back as it will go. Drop that back knee to the mat and just stretch in this low lunge here for a moment. Now hold your next breath and step back into a high plank. You can modify here if you need to, just by keeping your knees on the mat. Just holding plank here for a moment. Now as you exhale, bring your knees back down to the mat. Point your tailbone up towards the ceiling and try to just bring your chest in between your hands. So your hips are still floating up in the air. You can bring your chin or forehead down to rest on the mat. Inhaling, we're scooping up into extended cobra. So feet are about hip distance apart or wider. Keep a bend in your elbows. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and either look out straight ahead, or it might feel good to look diagonally up. Big breath in here, stretching through the front of your body. As you exhale, toes come onto the mat. Start to drag your hips up and back into downward facing dog. You can readjust here for a moment. You might paddle your feet to stretch through the back of your legs. Point your tailbone towards the ceiling. Release your head towards the mat. Big belly breath in. And when you're ready, step that right foot forward in between your hands. You can always use your hand to help get that foot up here. Release your back knee to the mat. Stretch through your lunge again. Take a nice long breath in. This time as you exhale, left foot comes forward. Back into our standing forward fold. Knees are a little bit straighter this time. Drop your nose, release your neck. Take a long breath in and bring your hands back up over your head. Pulling the head slightly back, pressing your hips forward. Exhaling, bend your knees, drop your hands next to your feet, release your head. We'll repeat that on the left side now. On your next inhalation, left foot comes back. Sink your back knee to the mat, stretch through your lunge. Long breath in, hold that breath and step back into a high plank. Exhaling, knees come to the mat, tailbone points up, drop your chest in between your hands, release your chin or forehead to the mat. Inhaling, scooping up into extended cobra, widening the feet, bending your elbows, relaxing your shoulders down. Deep breath in here for the front of the body. Now as you exhale, dragging the hips up and back for downward dog. We'll pause here for a moment, finding your breath, paddling out your feet. Inhaling, left foot comes forward. Drop your back knee to the mat, stretch through your hips. On your next breath out, right foot comes forward, legs a little bit straight, drop your head. Inhaling, arms coming up and back. And as we exhale, taking everything back down, finding your standing forward fold, bending your knees, making your head heavy. And just resting here for a moment in your fold. We've completed one full round of a sun salutation. So we'll keep going. And this really is the best way to keep your spine flexible. Now when you're ready, take a breath in, send your right foot back behind you, drop your knee to the mat. Hold your next breath and come back into a high plank. Exhaling, drop knees, drop your chest and your chin or forehead. Inhale, scooping up, extended cobra. Exhaling, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breathing in, right foot comes forward, drop your back knee. And breathing out, left foot comes forward. Straight legs, drop your head. Keep a slight bend in your knees. Inhale, arms come up and back. Exhale, dropping all the way back down. Bend your knees, drop your nose. Inhale, left foot steps back. Sink your back knee down. Hold your breath for high plank. Exhale, drop knees, chest, chin or forehead. Inhale, extended cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pausing here just for a moment. Now when you're ready, take a breath in, bring your left foot forward, drop your back knee down. Exhaling, right foot comes forward. Inhale, arms up and back. And exhale, this time we'll bring the palms back to the chest. So we'll pause here after 2 full rounds of sun salutations. You can keep your feet close together. You can have your palms still together at your chest, or you might bring them down to rest beside your body with your palms facing forward. And if you're comfortable here, you might just close your eyes. And just settling into mountain pose here. Noticing the new sensations within your body. Your breathing might be a little bit faster. You might be able to notice your heart a little bit more. So just observing these new feelings for a moment. Just waiting for everything to settle back down again. You can gently open your eyes again if they're not already open. And from here we'll come into extended triangle. So keep your right toes pointing towards the front of your mat and take your left foot back behind you. Left foot is parallel to the back of the mat. We want to keep this right leg straight without locking the knee. And then bring your arms out wide left to right. Look over your right hand here. Take a breath in and start to glide over your right leg as if you want to touch the wall that's over to the right. As you exhale, drop that right hand down. You can use the back of your hand against your right shin here, and then point your left hand up towards the ceiling and look up at your left thumb. So we're trying to touch the ceiling and the floor at the same time here. So keep stretching your hands far away from each other. If you feel like your spine is curving here, just lift that right hand up a little bit higher on your right leg. We'll stay here for a few breaths. So nice long breaths in, filling up your belly, and really slow breaths out if you can. We'll take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, you can start to reverse out of the pose, lifting yourself back up. You can release your hands for a moment. This time we'll just switch feet. So now your right foot is parallel to the front of your mat, and point your left toes towards the other side of your mat. Left leg is straight without locking the knee. Bring your arms out wide and look over your left hand. Take an inhalation, gliding over your left leg, and as you exhale, release your left hand down, reach your right hand to the ceiling, and look up at your right thumb. Again, your spine is as straight as possible. Just lift that left hand up if you need to. Reaching for the sky and the earth at the same time, opening up your chest and slowly rotating it towards the ceiling. Find a few long breaths in, slow breaths out. And just being mindful of your left knee here, trying not to lock it. One more full breath cycle here. And when you're ready, you can start to make your way back up. Now you can release your hands. Keep that left foot pointing towards the edge of your mat, but this time bring a bend into your left knee until your knee is directly above your ankle. Right foot can stay parallel, or if needed, you can bring it on a 45-degree angle. Making our way into side angle pose here, we're bringing the left forearm onto that left thigh and then reaching your right hand all the way over towards the left side of the room. Keep that knee over the ankle. It'll be tempted to shift around, and look up at your right thumb. Keep pressing into the outer edge of your right foot and press those right fingers away from you. So you have a really long line all along your body on the right side. On your next breath in, you can start to lift on up out of the pose, release that right hand down. We'll switch our feet now. Left foot is parallel to the back of your mat, right toes point towards the front of your mat. Bend your front knee over your front ankle, right forearm comes onto your right thigh, left arm swings over towards the right. Look up at your left thumb. Press into the outer edge of your back foot and push those left fingers away from you. Check in on your front knee that it's still over your front ankle. Now we'll settle into the pose on this side, breathing as deeply as you can. take one more big breath in. And now this time as you exhale, we'll just release both hands back down to the mat, either side of that front foot. Pick your back heel up off the mat so your back toes are on the ground. And then when you're ready, prepare to pick that right foot up and send it back into downward facing dog. Just settling into your down dog for a moment, letting everything reset, pointing your tailbone up, releasing your head, fingers spread nice and wide, and gently push yourself away from your hands. On your next breath in, slide forward into a high plank, so your shoulders are above your wrists. Release your knees down to the mat, and then come to lie on the front of your body. When you're there, making your way into crocodile pose by stacking your hands on top of each other. Bring your big toes to touch each other and let your heels drop towards the edges of the mat. Then you can rest either your forehead or one of your cheeks onto your hands. And just release all of your muscles here. Giving your body a chance to process everything that we've done so far. Bring your mind back to focusing on your breath one more time. We'll start to come back now. We're heading into Sphinx pose. So you can have your feet about hip distance apart, maybe wider, and then bring your forearms onto the mat in front of you. Spread your fingers nice and wide and gently press your finger pads into the mat. Elbows can either be underneath your shoulders or they can be slightly out in front. Just make sure your elbows aren't behind your shoulders here. So for Sphinx pose, we're starting to lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears and try to shine your heart out in front of you. And this is a nice simple pose, but a really great gentle back bend. So doing really good work for your lower back, especially here. And to help you get into the pose a little bit more, you can start to energetically pull your fingers towards your body, and that will help you to press your heart forward. Keep your neck as neutral as you can, just looking out in front or maybe slightly down in front of you. And we'll just hang out here for a few breaths, bringing your mind back to those breaths, feeling your belly expanding, feeling your chest opening. And just notice the muscles in the back of your body here, especially your glutes. They might be really clenched. See if you can loosen them a little bit more. Keep pulling those fingers gently towards you. Maybe you can puff up your chest a little bit more for your last few breaths. And then when you're ready, use an exhalation to lower yourself back down, moving nice and slowly, making your way back into crocodile pose. So big toes come back together Heels drop towards the edges. Relax your head down onto your pillow. You might notice here Sphinx pose has stirred up some new sensations within the body. So we just take some time in crocodile pose, letting your body digest those new sensations. We'll come back now, this time for baby cobra. So feet come together and press where your shoelaces would be down into the mat. Palms can come next to your chest. On an inhalation, press those feet down and use that power to peel your hands and chest up off the mat. Relax your shoulders away from your ears and look either down at your mat or slightly out in front of your mat. Each inhalation helps you to lift up a little bit higher. Try to maintain that height through your exhalation. So we're only staying here for a couple of breaths, really using the muscles in the back of your body here, helping to make them stronger. Keep pressing your feet down. Keep lifting your chest up if you can. We'll take one more big breath in. Really press your belly into the mat. And with control, as you exhale, you can start to make your way back down and come back into crocodile pose. Big toes finding each other again. Relaxing onto your pillow. Feeling those new feelings. Releasing all of your muscles in the back of your body. And just rest here for a few breaths. Now we'll do one more back bend, this time doing locust pose. So bring your feet about hip or mat distance apart and then extend your arms down alongside your body with your palms facing up. You can release your forehead back down to the mat. Now on a breath in, peel your chest up off the ground. Press those fingers down towards your feet. You can either stay here or you can lift your feet up off the mat, creating this gentle back bend. So to take it a little bit further, you could interlock your fingers in behind your back and then press your hands down towards your feet, which will help you to open up your shoulders a little bit more. Keep inhaling to lift a little higher, maintaining through your exhale. Just a few more breaths here. Doing really good work for your spine here, helping to forge the pathways for more flexibility. Take one more breath. As you exhale, release everything back down. This time you can plant your palms next to your chest and prepare to lift yourself up, dragging your hips back towards your heels to come back into child's pose. So as always, we have options here in child's pose. If you keep your knees further apart, you'll get more of a hip stretch. If you take your knees together, you'll get more of a back stretch. So I'm going to keep my knees together this time. You can have your hands over towards the front of your mat, or they can come back to rest next to your feet with your palms facing up. And then if you can, release your forehead down towards the mat. If your forehead doesn't connect to the mat yet, you can take your hands, make a pillow, and now we'll stay here in our child's pose for about a minute. After back bending, we're allowing the spine to round again. So just let gravity do the work. Observing your breath here. If your mind has drifted away, just take it back here. As best you can, keep it locked into the sensations that you're feeling. Or just keep following that breath in and out of your body. You can use your next breath in to lift yourself up so you're back sitting on your mat. And from here, come to sit in the center of your mat, having your legs out long in front of you. We'll finish the practice with a few spinal twists. So again, a really good way to gain that mobility of your spine, can help to release some pain in your back as well. So take your right foot, bring it to the outside of your left knee. Your left leg can stay long here, or you can bend that left knee so your left foot is over towards the side of your right hip. So either way is fine. Once you're there, check that you can feel your seat bones pressing into the mat. You might have to wiggle around a little bit until you feel them. Then you're taking your right hand, bringing it back behind your tailbone as close to it as you can get it. And then once it's there, it acts like a pillar to keep your spine nice and straight. Left hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in to lengthen your back. And as you exhale, hook that left elbow to the top of your right knee and start to slowly rotate through your chest until you're looking back behind you. Each inhalation lengthens your spine, and each time you exhale, think twisting from your waist, then your rib cage, and then your neck to look back. And just 2 or 3 more breaths on this side. And in your own time, you can start to slowly come back to center. Undo your legs, shake them off if you need to, and we'll take that to the other side. So this time your left foot comes across to the outside of your right knee, right leg stays long, or you can bend that knee. Connect both sit bones to the mat. Left hand comes in behind your tailbone. It props up your spine. Right hand reaches for the ceiling. Inhale to grow a little bit taller. Exhale, hooking elbow to knee, rotating waist, rib cage, neck to look back behind you. You can spread your fingers on your right hand nice and wide, or you can straighten out that right arm. Now 2 or 3 breaths for this side. Gradually now you could start to make your way back to center, undoing everything, shaking off your legs. And now you can come down to lie on your back. So slowly making your way down. Once you're there, just lie on your back for a moment, just letting your spine realign itself against the ground. Drop your muscles as much as you can. Find your breath again. We're coming into a supine twist now. So you're bringing your right foot up onto your left thigh, and then left hand finds that right knee. Right hand reaches towards the ceiling. Stack your hips on top of each other, bringing your knee over towards the left, and release your right arm back down to the right. Check on your right shoulder here. If it's come up off the mat, then just reverse out of your twist a little bit until you can connect that right shoulder back down to the mat. You can either look over at your right hand, or you can just keep your eyes up on the ceiling. And then we'll relax into our twist here for a few breaths. With time, as your body starts to open up, you might be able to encourage your knee a little bit more over to the left. Releasing tension from your lower back here. So send your breath down into that tightness. And each time you exhale, it's exiting the body. Your next inhalation can bring you back towards center, sending that right foot back down to the end of the mat, realigning your spine for a moment, noticing the difference between the two sides of your body here. And now we'll repeat that on the other side. So your left foot is coming onto your right thigh, right hand reaches for the knee, left hand reaches for the ceiling. Stack your hips, bringing your knee over to the right, release your left arm back to the left. Checking in on your left shoulder here, keeping it grounded. Looking to the ceiling or looking to your left side. And we'll settle into the twist here. And again, with time, you might be able to encourage your knee over towards the right. And just using your breath to get rid of any stress within your body. Your next breath in can take you back to center, coming back to lie on the mat. Now noticing how both sides of your body feel. Now we'll make our way into our last pose, which is bridge pose. So bend your knees, soles of the feet are on the mat. Feet are about hip distance apart and ankles are directly underneath your knees. Reach your fingertips down towards the back of your heels and press your lower back into the mat. Maintaining that new position of your pelvis, lift it up towards the ceiling, bringing your chest towards your chin and pressing your belly towards the ceiling. So again, here we're strengthening the muscles of the back. Keep your hips nice and high. And in this pose, we're also encouraging the blood to flow down towards your brain, which has a really calming effect on the mind. One more big belly breath in. Press your hips higher if you can. And now one vertebrae at a time. Release your spine back down to the mat. Once your hips have landed, you can bring your knees in towards your chest, wrap your arms around your legs, and bring your nose up towards your knees. Rounding your spine again. Give yourself a really big hug. Thank yourself for practicing. You can release your head back down to the mat. Send your right foot down to the bottom of the mat. Let your left foot follow. And come into your final resting pose. You might do Shavasana. So spread your legs and your arms wide away from your body. Have your palms facing the ceiling. And just let all of your muscles drop here. So stay here for as long as you can, just letting your body soak up all the benefits of the practice. We'll end the video here. So thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please let me know by leaving a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would be really grateful if you did. And until next time, namaste.